YouTube had a slip-up that works as a perfect segue into a serious mental health topic. Radio stations try to keep all of your money, Tidal wants to give you all of their money, and Qobuz wants you to get what you deserve for your money. I'm Matt the Kid. This is the Music Mensch Podcast. And we're back with episode 26 of the Music Mensch Podcast. Welcome. I am Matt the Kid, excited as always to be here. And today we are going to be talking about some peculiar business fails as well as business successes. We're also going to be brushing on a topic of mental health that is extremely uncomfortable, so brace yourself for that. We don't want to just be middle of the road here, right? Middle of the road is boring. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of modern music business news. The first of which deals with the ever-popular game Fortnite, which I'm sure you've heard of. If you're not familiar with Fortnite, it is an online video game developed by Epic Games and released in 2017. I know a bunch of kids that have played that game. They talk endlessly about it. It is also available on other platforms. It's insanely popular. And Epic is running pre-roll ads on YouTube for it, which are specifically the ads that come before a selected video. If you pull up a video and you see ads beforehand, those are pre-roll ads, right? However, the company was forced to pull its ads off of the video platform after they were being played on videos that online predators are using to exploit children. According to a Variety article, Epic reached out to Google to address this matter, and they promptly deleted the accounts, videos, and channels. In addition, a YouTube representative came forward with the following statement, saying, quote, "Any content, including comments that endangers minors, is abhorrent, and we clearly have policies prohibiting this on YouTube. There's more to be done, and we continue to work to improve and catch abuse more quickly." A former YouTube content creator, Matt Watson, released a video and Reddit post that showed just how easy it is to access these types of videos, as well as how the current recommended algorithm facilitates these predators, saying, quote, "I can consistently get access to it from vanilla, never-before-used YouTube accounts via innocuous videos in less than 10 minutes and sometimes less than 5 clicks. So apparently this is not Fortnite's first brush with this disturbing facet of criminality. There have been several reports about child predators using the game itself to lure younger kids in by offering to level up their profiles in exchange for illicit photos. It's also worth noting that this is not YouTube's first problem related to their algorithm, and it most likely will and should put them into some hot water. Back in early 2018, YouTube quickly changed its required benchmarks for monetization on its channels, and lots of content creators were both furious and confused. Now, what was the reason they did that? They needed to do this because their advertising budget was quickly diminishing after ad companies realized that their ads were playing before controversial videos. So, for example, you might see a Dodge commercial right before a video of somebody being brutally killed in a head-on collision, something like that. Naturally, it discouraged others from paying YouTube for ad placement, and YouTube had to make some changes. Well, it looks like they're going through that problem again, and it wasn't just Fortnite that noticed. Both Nestle and Disney were also among the handful of companies that decided to duck out of the platform for the same reason. And this is a really uncomfortable topic to discuss in the realm of music. It's really a difficult topic in general because we have the disparity of being somewhat unsettled by the thought of even knowing people who would do this, namely be attracted to kids, and yet these people need some kind of help somehow, right? They need therapy, they need medication, and it's a sad state of affairs. Now, when I say this, I mean strictly pedophiles, not child molesters, right? The people you're talking about online are most likely child molesters, and there is a difference. Someone who has an attraction like that, but is not engaged in any of the activity itself, like literally just has the urge and nothing else has happened, is a pedophile. One fact that shows separation between the two is the fact that only 50% of child molesters are pedophilic. That means that they do not so much feel these things day to day, rather it's more about an abusive relationship or abusing somebody than anything else. Now, in terms of child molesters, no sympathy there. I have no sympathy there. But there is a distinct difference, and I want to be absolutely clear about this so my lines don't get crossed. I don't want y'all thinking that I'm advocating for anything negative, any type of horrendous thing. That's not what I'm saying at all. I do not in any way support that kind of behavior. But what I am talking about is really the stigma surrounding mental health issues in the music industry and really anywhere else. And these stigmas are usually based on the style or severity of the issue, unfortunately. And pedophilia is one of them, simply because even the idea that people have this urge itself discomforts the mass population. But this is a discussion we need to have eventually. How do we get these people help? There are a lot of people out there who have these urges and do not want them. So for those folks, and you have a very large percentage of those folks out there, hopefully that we can get help for some of those folks. Hopefully some of you will open this up for discussion in the world of whatever it might be, music, podcasting, I don't know. I think the subject could really use a good microscope, and we will probably be talking about it more and more as time goes on, because unfortunately we do see a lot of this, and we also see predatorial behavior. If you've gone back and see the blogs about Ryan Adams or any of the other ones where we have specifically a musician who's being predatorial. It sadly seems to happen every once in a while. R. Kelly, obviously a huge example. So this is something that does need to be opened up for discussion. Hit me up with some comments on social media, musicbench.com, wherever you feel like opening a discussion, and I would be happy to talk about it with you. But for now, we have to move on to something else that is more governmental than anything, and it's also both new and old news. Now, how does that work? This bill that is currently going through Congress has been brought up twice in the past, but has been shot down both times. And now it's back for its third and bloody revenge. It's entitled the Local Radio Freedom Act, and it's probably the shortest bill I've ever read. There's not much to it. It's very cut and dry. So much so, in fact, that I can read the summary right here. It says this bill, quote, declares that Congress should not impose any new performance fee, tax, royalty, or other charge relating to the public performance of sound recordings on a local radio station for broadcasting sound recordings over the air or on any business for such public performance of sound recordings. That's it. Now, before we get into this, what do you think of it for what it is? If we're just talking on the surface level, it's a ban on new performance fees or royalties that radio stations would have to pay to artists, labels, and publishers that other media outlets such as box stores or record stores would have to pay. It also works as a protection for different venues, bars, restaurants, that sort of thing. I would imagine that's part of the reason it has been shot down so many times is the fact that it is so broad-stroked it doesn't really cite specific stipulations or examples. However, many organizations that have posted websites online, such as Music First, which is a massive one, they've been around since the introduction of this bill, claim that the name is misleading and that there is nothing local about it, but rather it is a play by big radio to ensure that they don't have to play by the same rules as other music platforms that work in very similar or even identical ways. If you go to the front page of their website, Music First, a portion of the mission statement reads like this. Through LRFA, the radio industry is renewing their effort in Congress to maintain a carve-out which gives them a huge competitive advantage over innovative services like SiriusXM, Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music. It allows them not to compensate music creators for their work, while innovative services do. There's also nothing local about the LRFA or radio itself. Consolidation within the radio industry over the last decade has resulted in 10 radio corporations owning hundreds of stations across the country. These 10 broadcast behemoths are responsible for about half of the revenue generated by the nearly $15 billion radio industry. The U.S. shouldn't be in the business of protecting big radio at the expense of music creators who are simply looking to be paid for their work. It isn't fair. Congress must say no to big radio's Local Radio Freedom Act and yes to fairly paying music creators. So if you weren't tuning into the show when we discussed the Music Monetization Act, you may be wondering currently why and how radio stations are getting away with less payment than platforms like Pandora or Spotify. As you may remember, if you did watch it, performing artists gain performance royalties when their song is streamed or performed in public. However, this is not the case with radio and has not been for the longest time, simply because giving your album to a radio station through the deal that your major record label makes is considered promotional. Therefore, money is kept by the parent company of these radio stations, and they have convinced the artist that they need them in order to get their music around. Now, is this true? Yes, currently it is. Radio is still a major force in the US. In fact, it is still one of the most prominent attractions for those looking to just pass the time. These statistics that I'm about to read you are data collected from a 2018 analysis conducted by American data company Nielsen. The statistics that I'm about to read you are data collected from a 2018 analysis conducted by American data company Nielsen, as well as a 2017 analysis from the Pew Research Center. 93% of all people in the US listen to AM/FM radio over the airwaves, which is higher than TV viewership. More than 243 million American adults listen to radio each month, with that audience becoming more diverse over time. Now, we also want to get an accurate read on whether or not the main users of digital streaming platforms who do pay royalties are also in fact influenced by conventional radio. But a 2016 study showed that those who are 35 and older are more likely to use a single streaming or radio platform that does not offer on-demand experiences. However, that does not change the fact that 95% of millennials are still reached by radio each month, meaning that there is clearly an undeniable overlap of influence there. If you take this into account, it would appear that there is an overwhelming amount of overlap in the content that is popular on both interactive and non-interactive stations, meaning, a non-interactive station is basically you just listen to the radio, it does what it does, you have no say in what gets played, whereas an interactive station is something like Spotify, where you can shape your playlist and everything like that. This would make anybody wonder why radio stations should be exempt from paying their fair share for broadcasting different music on their airwaves. This bill is being advocated for by the National Association of Broadcasters, which claims to advance the interest of our members in federal government, industry, and public affairs. It also believes that this right should be protected due to radio's unwavering ability to promote performing artists. And they're right in a sense, but that ability has been equally challenged by digital streaming services, which 61% of young Americans are currently using. Another statistic shows that in 2018, 75% of Americans were involved in on-demand streaming, including video. I mean, that's still 20% lower than those that are reached through FM radio, but it's not a stretch to imagine that this gap could be made up through the slow integration of technology into the community of older citizens and the slow descent of radio. So looking at the surface of the matter, it sounds like a 5-alarm hose job, but deeper down, it's really a 10-alarm hose job. It wasn't long ago at all that we witnessed a Chapter 11 restructuring plan for iHeartMedia, who currently owns 855 radio stations. And while Spotify could arguably be just as unstable with its insanely large postings for operating loss, I think one example being like 461 million in 2017, their free cash flow does appear to be getting better. But the bottom line is that the platforms that are available for US consumers and their ability to be incredibly competitive for local and larger radio proves that paying the artists their share of royalties while still grabbing massive amounts of listeners and maintaining a good profit margin is absolutely possible, which means that AM/FM radio could stand to change their ways. While it may end up bringing some stations to the ground, the future looks like it's filled with larger and larger advocacy groups that will push for artist payment when it comes to digital streaming and radio. So how long could they possibly hold out? I mean, I suppose as long as they are continually restructuring when bankruptcy hits, or as long as record companies continue to make deals with them, they will always find some way to thrive. But again, the prospect of simultaneously making these deals and paying their performing artists is entirely doable, in my humble opinion. I believe that this bill should be shot down a third time, and we should begin a push for these royalties to make their way into the pockets of publishers, artists, and record labels, all of those folks. It just goes to show that in a world where you leave much of the work up to the artist is going to expect some payment in return. Who would have thunk it? So that's some upsetting news, but it can't all be upsetting news on the Music Mensch podcast, because we're not about that. We still have good companies looking to do great things in music, and one of those companies is looking to give back to the news community of musicians, so we will talk about that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about your amazing voice. You have an amazing voice, and we understand that. We want to promote that. But look, the guy who runs my sponsor's company is a great guy. His name is Aaron, and he understands that you can't sing like Pavarotti every single night, but with all the practicing, rehearsing, and traveling you may have in front of you, the last thing you should have to worry about is seasonal allergies or unwanted vocal strain from an illness. That's why you should take the time to breathe better and sing easier with Vocal Mist. The latest research shows that using a nebulizer with isotonic saline instead of a boring old humidifier actually reduces something called phonation threshold pressure, meaning it will relax the tension on your vocal folds and make it easier to produce sound. It'll feel like a cloud, a lovely cloud, or a pillow, whereas a humidifier will just clear your sinuses and not do much else. Vocal Mist has easy-to-use features, it's extremely portable, and it has USB charging capabilities, unlike your heavy-ass at-home nebulizer from Vicks, whoever you buy it from, so you can keep your voice feeling excellent anywhere and anytime you need it with this product. And it comes with both a slip-on mask and an intraoral nebulizer mouthpiece, so you get to try both and see what feels comfortable for you. My listeners get a special offer when you go onto myvocalmist.com and enter the promo code MENSCH. Again, that's MENSCH, MENSCH. You will get $10 off any select Vocal Mist bundle package. Again, that's myvocalmist.com, promo code MENSCH, to get $10 off your Vocal Mist bundle package. With its 5-star rating and science-based technology, this portable nebulizer will end your struggles with seasonal allergies and vocal strain. myvocalmist.com, promo code MENSCH. Use that promo code to let them know the Mensch sent you. You need to save your money and put it towards better things, so go do that today. Okay, so let's get back to Tidal. Tidal is a subscription-based platform that offers music, podcast, and video streaming, owned by Jay-Z, who bought it 4 years ago. Now, this platform has teamed up with venture capital financiers Mark Lampert and Robert Nelson to create an artist grant program called Tidal Unplugged. The new fund has $1 million up for grabs and will unveil itself in Detroit on March 1st, which was announced after a successful test run had been completed. Once that date arrives, any musician that performs any genre within that area will be able to apply by going to tidal.com/unplugged to compete for the finalist position in May. However, it has been stated that artists who submit recordings must sing either a cappella or acoustically with very minimal use of digital components. One way to think of this is like a mix between The Voice and a virtual record company. According to the website, Tidal Unplugged services include a creative budget, monthly stipend, access to recording and creative resources, industry mentoring, promotional support via Tidal Rising, and the opportunity to perform in a Tidal Unplugged showcase in November of this year. But best of all, the artists that are chosen will maintain 100% ownership of their masters. Woo! Somebody did it right. This is not out of character for Jay-Z by any stretch of the imagination. He seems to be the type that is looking at helping where he can, whether it be with new artists or already established artists in need or who are looking to do bigger things. Not many people are aware of the fact that he was the one who hired an attorney to help the UK-born rapper 21 Savage after he was arrested by ICE when it was discovered that his visa expired. In addition to that, he has helped people like Lil Wayne with his back taxes and Meek Mill with legal fees when he was in prison back around 2014 or 2015. And although this money for Tidal Unplugged will be coming out of the streaming service instead of Jay-Z's bank account, there is still lots of potential for younger and less established musicians to get involved in this new platform. They also plan to announce a time when musicians from outside Detroit can begin to submit their work. Tidal Senior Vice President of Artist Relations, John Capana, commented on the new venture, saying, "We recognize the power of streaming and the importance of supporting and encouraging emerging artists. Being able to expand the program to support musicians in an authentic and substantial way is truly an honor." So that is great news coming out of the entrepreneurial world there by Jay-Z. Good on him for all that. I will be coming back with some more info on that on March 1st so we can see the updates as to how things have evolved and how things unfold on the launch date. Now, on to our last topic of the day, which swims into the land of obscurity when it comes to the digital streaming zone. One would think that while we have services like Pandora, YouTube Music, Spotify, and all the others, the market has been entirely swallowed up. Therefore, it would be extremely difficult to try to compete with them, right? Well, there is a new company that has emerged from the fog, but we still might be right. The latest service is Qobuz, spelled Qobuz, very strange. No, it is not strange, it is French. It sounds fancy in French, unlike your Spotify. What the fuck does Spotify even mean? Anyway, it's a French music streaming and downloading service that was founded in 2007. It launched in the US on Valentine's Day of this year with 40 million available tracks, offline listening availability, multi-device compatibility, and its most prominent feature, the ability to choose your streaming quality. Calling it the premium gasoline of music services, Qobuz's US MD Dan Mokhta has commented that they have no intention of competing with the regular music streaming services, but rather are looking to cater to the top end of the market instead. The platform offers 3 different tiers of service. The first is premium at $10 per month with MP3 quality streaming at 320 kbps. The second is hi-fi at $20 per month with CD quality streaming, 16-bit. And the third is studio at $25 per month with high-res streaming quality, 24-bit up to 192 kilohertz. There is a bonus tier called Sublime that is $200 per year, which gives you high-res quality streaming, access to a massive hi-fi and high-res music catalog, and discounts for certain purchasable items. The service also has what I could almost describe as the Cadillac version of the iTunes Store, where you can search for either singles or full-length albums and purchase them in the formats that they are available in. Just glancing through, I noticed that the high-res music was priced at $2 per song, whereas CD qualities were priced around like $149. It appears as though the company is looking to tap into not only the streaming audience, but also those who may not be using streaming services yet, specifically those who are 35 and older, like we were talking about in the statistics with radio. An article by Digital Music News has pointed out that the application was having difficulty at certain stages, using examples like being unable to log in from Android devices or witnessing a never-ending loading screen when attempting to sign in with Facebook from an Android device, therefore having to log in on a desktop before gaining access. But it appears that Qobuz is working to fix that problem. Other than a few technical difficulties and the extreme difficulty in captivating a new audience for their services, it would seem that Qobuz is not such a bad idea. It has the uniqueness of being the only service that gives the ability to both stream and purchase your music. But keep in mind that they still have competition within all aspects of what they offer. Tidal currently offers hi-fi streaming at a rate of $5 cheaper per month than Qobuz through its Tidal Masters program, while Deezer offers the same thing at $15 per month, which is even cheaper. Most of what Qobuz has to go on in order to drive traffic towards their bank account would, for now, have to be in the realm of functionality and customer service. It also doesn't help that Nielsen reported in 2017 that on-demand streaming accounts for the majority of music consumption, which is mainly done through mobile devices. So Qobuz could have a serious problem on their hands if they don't get that fixed. Having been around since 2007, it has already gone through its share of troubles. According to a Music Business Worldwide article published in 2015, Qobuz fell into receivership until it was rescued by Zandri SA, which has promised to invest a total of 12 million euros or $13.6 million into both technical improvements and marketing. So we will see what happens there. Another conversation that is bound to come up in the music business world is how much the platform intends to pay musicians if the app has the success it believes to have. As per the only evidence we seem to have on this matter, which comes from a band called Giant Jack from France, The royalty payout is somewhere around 0.037 cents per stream, which is actually pretty great. That's higher than YouTube, Spotify, and Pandora combined. So it's actually not bad. That being said, if you are a user of Qobuz, you would most likely want to be up to date on the technological devices that are available. From my personal experience, the current Mac has some great speakers, but my old Mac speakers might as well have been hubcaps with toaster wires glued to them that I made myself. But without going too far into that, essentially, Qobuz seems to be for those who are interested in doing deep digging into music and truly enjoy the exploration factor. What is very cool about it is the information that you get with each album or track. It will show a small paragraph tied to each album that provides facts about it, as well as bios, information about the artists, and other metadata that music lovers like. And that feature is available on any subscription tier. This ability is provided by their integration with another online databasing service called Rune, which not only has the ability to provide information about the music and different listening formats, but it also has the ability to stream to any device you currently own and make sure all of your options and purchases are in sync with each other on every single device. So needless to say, it's not your average high school or a quick stream, I basically just listen to the radio kind of hosting. It's very genuine and very clean in look. So despite the problems and the higher pricing, I am actually kind of rooting for them. Owner and chairman of Qobuz said, quote, "I am very proud of our United States launch. Our teams have been working brilliantly for over a year with our recording and publishing partners to get to this point. I am convinced that what we have to offer on both the streaming and download markets will be a success amongst American music lovers." So some interesting stuff there with Qobuz, and we will have to see everything that unfolds there. If you are older and you listen to the show, I might check it out. It seems like they have some pretty good features, and especially the older folks that I know that listen to the show, or the older music lovers that I know, one of the biggest things and one of the reasons they like to hold on to their vinyl records is because of album art and liner notes about the music or the band or the album. You will not miss that information with Qobuz. It typically gives you everything you need, so please check it out. But that is it for this Wednesday here on the Music Bench podcast. I hope you enjoyed the news updates, but remember that it's about the ability to learn and the desire to find the best possible options for what you want to do. That being said, there are constant changes in the music world, and they happen almost daily, just like the recent Spotify and Warner Chappell fight that broke out over Spotify's launch plan in India, which I will be covering on Saturday. But I want to keep you involved in all of those stories, so please sign up to the mailing list, where I also have my PDF downloadable 3 essential music tools for budgeting, practicing, and releasing your music. It's not every day that you come across this kind of information in such a succinct location, and it's not every day that you put out new and exciting material. You know, your efficiency and determination is what counts when it comes to making a name for yourself. So please don't miss out on that info. It's absolutely free, and it's what every musician should know but may not know. Again, that's available by going on to musicbench.com and subscribing to the mailing list. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, and pretty much everywhere else except SoundCloud. We also have the Music Bench Podcast YouTube channel, where there are more news updates and industry tips. So whether you like audio only or video with it, you can pick your poison and learn something new today and every other day. Until this Saturday, I am Matt the Kid, and this is the Music Bench Podcast. Hey, did you like that last video? If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down there. Make sure you hit the notification bell along with it to get all the updates. And I'll also let the little elves and robots at YouTube know that more people want to see content, which would be pretty great.